Welcome to the Private Lenders Podcast with your hosts from Hard Money Bankers, Jason Balin and Chris Haddon. This podcast is sponsored by hardmoneymastermind.com.
Welcome back to the Private Lenders Podcast. I'm Jason Balin from Hard Money Bankers. My guest today, Sean Muir from Crexi Commercial Properties Software. It's no secret that lending on small balance commercial properties is a great strategy for private lenders, and really, there's so much limited competition in this asset classes because a lot of banks just don't really want to mess with it. Other private lenders don't understand it. You know, we've been lending on commercial buildings for a long time and always looking for tools to help us grow, this size or, this silo of our business. I wanted to invite Sean on to show you a little bit more about what Crexi has to offer for private lenders. Again, this episode is also on video, not just audio. So if you're listening to it on iTunes, take a look at Hard Money Mastermind YouTube channel, because we're definitely going to, Sean's going to share his screen and go through some of that stuff as well. Sean, thanks again for joining me. Welcome to the Private Lenders Podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And nice to meet everyone virtually on the future recording. Just a little bit of background on Crexi for those that are not familiar. We're essentially a commercial real estate marketplace. We're the largest online marketplace in the nation in terms of commercial real estate listings. So really our primary function is a way for agents and brokers to get more exposure to properties that they have listings on. With that accumulation of data from our marketplace and growth that we've seen over the last 10 years, we've been able to kind of build another side of our platform called Intelligence, which is what I'm going to be showing you today. It is a subscription side of our platform. Keep in mind, anybody that's interested in this can reach out to me for a more thorough demonstration and also get an automatic discount on our subscription just for being affiliated with Jason's network and podcast. But the Intelligence platform is really unique. Basically, anybody that needs access to commercial real estate data can leverage our platform. The main areas that we kind of help with is we're going to be able to give you access to nationwide sales comps across every commercial real estate asset class directly from our marketplace. So it could be broker reported and proprietary, or directly from all the counties across the nation. And since we're sourcing data in various ways, directly from our marketplace, directly from title companies, directly from different places, even in areas like non-disclosure states, we're able to really verify sales amounts. So that's a huge advantage for us. The second thing you'll get access to is information on every parcel in the nation, whether it's a vacant piece of land, a shopping center, hotel, doesn't matter. You're going to be able to open up that parcel, see who owns it, see the transaction history, maybe even see if there's debt on the property. And the last thing, and kind of the main reason Jason and I kind of got to talking and getting on this podcast, is since we have relationships with all these title companies, we actually have private loan data. So we can look up properties with loans maturing. We can look up other lenders' loans that are out there if you know that there's competitors' business that you win a lot of the times. We also have pre-foreclosure data from all the counties across the nation. And we even have CMBS loan data, which is from the SEC and it's public loan information. But when you put that all together, our platform's amazing for just doing your due diligence, looking at people's portfolios for risk mitigation, overall helping with your underwriting, even accessing lease data, things like rent rolls, and just saving you a ton of time. And that's hopefully the purpose of this presentation.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most folks listening, if they're coming from the fix and flip or the residential space, maybe they've dabbled with commercial stuff, they might have local MLS charters. That's great for looking at mostly residential data. And yeah, there's commercial data in there, but I mean, I am personally a Crexi user, and we've been using it, and it, just the research alone of looking at parcels and looking at tax records and owner information, mortgage information, things like that, it certainly saves me time because not only some of the areas we lend, we don't have full MLS coverage on, but then I don't have to go to the land record and tax assessment websites to look at that data. So yeah, why don't we do a demo of some of the stuff if you want to share your screen and I can bring it up.
Absolutely. And then, part of our standard offering is nationwide access. So it does save you a lot of time in terms of having everything in one place. So that's a good point. And then I just want to make a quick distinguishment. All of the value that you'll get in comps and private loan day and all that is anything duplex and above. So what we consider residential multifamily will actually be included. The only thing that is limited is individual single family homes, although we will have parcel information on that, which includes ownership details. But when it comes to private loan data and actual sales comps from our marketplace, duplex and above, and then everything else in the commercial real estate arena.
No doubt.
So let me share my screen and we'll kind of just give you guys a quick overview. And then, as I mentioned, if you want to look deeper into your market and do a more thorough demo, please reach out. I'll pull up a QR code that will help you get in contact with me after, and we can set up a time to do an individual demo. So first things first, what we're looking at right now is our marketplace. So if you've never been on Crexi before, just like a Zillow, you're going to be able to come in here, type up any market, let's just call it Ohio, and basically be able to look at all the listings that our agents and brokers have put on our platform and just select your asset class. Obviously, there's some other filters that you can use in terms of square footage and units and all that kind of stuff. So that's our primary function. That's free to the public. We have an active marketplace for sale and for lease. We even have an auction side of our platform that's all free. What you get access to with the subscription side of our platform, though, is beyond our marketplace. You're going to be able to tap into our comps and records database, which is where we can look at properties, whether they've been listed or not, and do a lot of that strategic filtering that I told you about regarding like loan maturities. However, you also get access to these insights, which is just going to be a good way to analyze any market that you're looking at. Okay. And then in terms of our listings, I won't go into it, but you can click into these, submit your LOIs, download the OMs, get in contact with the agents and brokers, look at the marketing description, investment highlights. So pretty standard stuff in terms of just looking at listings. So let's jump right into the insights. And this is where you can really just keep an eye on what's happening in the market and understand what things are being traded for, what things are being listed as. So think of this as a data aggregator. It's taking all the data from our listings and presenting it in this report for you. And everything's dynamic here. So if I wanted to select a specific asset class, all the data is going to update for me in real time, as well as if I decided to draw a radius around Columbus, instead of looking at the whole state, all the data is going to update in real time. So I can quickly see the median asking price, price per square foot, the cap rates, and keep in mind we're a marketplace. So a lot of properties have transacted on our platform. The sold cap rates are being reported by broker reported sales. In addition to the asking cap rates are coming from the current listings on our platform. You can also see price per unit, year built, days on market. So everything you need to know about the current marketplace activity in this area. We also provide a ton of demographic detail, such as population growth trends, income and growth rates, age demographics, and number of employees. Again, all this data is dynamic. So if I want to zoom in into any neighborhood and get extremely granular or customized, I can go in with my radius, even less than a mile, and get the exact demographics for this particular area. There's some other nice bells and whistles. I won't get too in the weeds with it, but we have like a population and income heat map if you want to see the counties and zip codes that have the highest densities of population or income levels. We even have traffic counts. And then one thing I will show you is points of interest, because this is a good way to find where certain properties are. If you want to look at gas stations or restaurants or Chick-fil-A or Starbucks, I can click that in. It's going to show me where all these properties are. I can even look up something like RV parks or storage as an asset class. And the benefit here is we have information on every parcel in the nation. So I can actually just zoom in on any property, whether I was targeting a Starbucks or this public storage facility, and I can actually go to satellite view and remove my points of interest filter. And I can now start opening up information on any parcel in the nation. And this will tell me the details of the property, the square footage, who the owner is, if there's debt on the property, the transaction history, tax history, and so forth. So this is one way we can start to look at property information rather than market information. And we have this on the mobile app. So if you're ever out in the field, you're going to be able to open up this information on any property while you're on the go. We even have augmented reality where you can point your camera at a building. All these details will populate on your phone. Let's jump into the comps and records side of our platform. It's going to be much more efficient to look up these properties. And you're going to get a whole lot of other filters like loan maturity that you're going to be able to utilize rather than looking at our marketplace side. So let's just reset our search here. Now, keep in mind, we're looking at all historical sales and parcel information. So right now, it's showing me every single parcel in the state of Ohio. I can easily filter down by asset class, depending on what project I'm working on. But for the sake of the example, let's just click on all these properties are in order by recent sales. So let's look at this retail property that just sold a couple days ago, just to show you what data we're capturing in here. So first things first, we're always going to give you the most pertinent sale information if we have it right here. So we can see the price per foot, the sold price, the year built, zoning codes, the sold date. If I scroll down, I'm going to get the property history. And we source data from a few different ways, right? Directly from our marketplace. So that's why it's broker reported. That's proprietary data. Public record as well. We even see a mortgage update. And then even from the title companies, which is why we have the mortgage history here. If it's broker reported, we're going to have a lot more robust information than any other comp because it was transacted on Crexi. So oftentimes they'll tell us the lease type, the tenancy, maybe the lease term, or in this case, they may even provide us the closing cap rate and NOI. So that's our advantage of being a marketplace. You'll get the investment highlights or marketing descriptions. Any listing that ever that expired or sold, you're going to get access to that type of data, as well as all the proprietary marketplace activities. So if the price drops several times and that's why it sold, you're going to be able to see everything that happened with that listing, which is very unique to Crexi. If it comes from public record, you're going to see exactly where we're getting this data. So the American Finance Trust, this is a limited warranty deed down to the document number. So we do a really good job in terms of data transparency, showing you, hey, this is exactly where we're getting it from. It's from public record, it's from the deed, or this is coming directly from a broker that transacted this property on Crexi. Okay, so we can see the lender name and so forth. And hopefully get all the transaction history dating back to 2018 even. If I scroll down, I'm going to get the mortgage history. This is a property where we do have private loan data on. So I can see the mortgage amount, the lender, all the details pertaining to the loan. I'll show you how we can filter for this further, but this is just a good example of a property where we have it. I'm also going to get the tax history, the assessed year, property tax, land additions, and assessed value. So that's going to be a good example of a property that we have tax history on. And then if I scroll down, I'm going to get the business entity information. And this is really neat because you may be looking up a potential borrower and they're telling you they have a massive portfolio. You're going to be able to look up their business entity and look at their portfolio. And in this case, I even get the business entity mailing address, which is a PO box in Texas, although this is a property in Ohio. You can even at times look up the details of their LLC. It may even tell me the directors and officers and managing members. But more importantly, I can actually tap into their portfolio. And there's a few benefits here. First off, I can see other properties they own. Second, I could find other similar properties. But what it's doing is it's pulling every property associated with this business entity or other business entities that share the same mailing address. And why this is so cool is I can check to see if this debt is cross-collateralized, right? I may go to loan amount and put it in descending order. And now I can look at all the different debt and the properties tied to this debt. I think the loan that we were just looking at was a $242 million loan. Let's go to the second page and let's see if that's an individual standalone property. And guess what? It's actually tied to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 other properties encapsulate this $242 million loan with Citibank through the same owner name.
Wait, where do you see that?
So right now I'm looking at the loan amounts. They're all the same. The lenders are all the same and the owner names are all the same, telling me that this loan is actually cross-collateralized across these 9 properties.
Wait, did that pop up on another screen that I can't see?
Let me click share this tab instead.
There we go.
So I guess when I open up a new screen, it doesn't go with me. So all I did is I clicked portfolio and it's showing me every property in this person's portfolio by business entity or by other business entities. All I did was go to the second page because I didn't see the loan. And now I'm seeing this $242 million loan repeated 9 times with the same lender and the same owner names, which is telling me it's all cross-collateralized debt.
Yep, correct.
And I can easily click into these individual properties without leaving the portfolio and look at all these individual purchases. So that's kind of the power of the portfolio. Another neat thing is since we have filters for pre-foreclosure and we have filters for loan maturity date, even within their portfolio, I can check to see that. So for instance, I may want to see how many properties does this person have with loans maturing in the next 2 years? 14 of them. Okay. How many properties do they have in pre-foreclosure? 1. So let's see what this person's situation is. They have a $185 million loan that is in a pre-foreclosure status. In this case, it's showing me that they received a pre-foreclosure notice December 2022. It's in the notice of default and list pending stage on top of that $242 million loan that is maturing in the next 2 years, in top of 14 other properties that are part of that. So that tells you a little bit more of the situation of this person, right? Jason, any feedback or how that, is impactful that you see from your perspective in being in this business?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's extremely helpful. I mean, there was a few things like typically there's two sides of this, at least in my opinion, where the tool has been helpful for. And full transparency, like we just came on board with Crexi a few weeks ago, so like I'm a newer user, and I wanted to invite Sean on to be a guest because I was like, this is really good software, and this is something that's been lacking inside our business. And I was kind of piecemealing this together by other resources and other tools until everything was kind of all in one. But the two ways I've been using it is research for individual property owners, individual properties. Someone comes to us for a cash out refinance, call it on a commercial building that they own. I can learn everything about that building. If again, I can learn more than I was able to on the property owner itself. And then obviously comp tools, right? Like the other day, or yesterday, I should say, there was an office building that we were potentially looking to loan on, and it was easy. I just put in the property address, right inside the tool. It went right to it. And then, I know the area well enough of what parts I want to stick to and what parts I don't want to stick to. So I did one bigger search first, which was either, whatever, a big circle based off radius. And then I kind of narrowed it down to zip code, asset types, things like that. And, it was very easy with just kind of scrolling around of, clicking through stuff. And then can you bring up your screen again?
Yeah.
Real quick? Because one thing that I realized that helped me, and I'm still kind of navigating through some of these things, was I rearranged some of the tabs that were important to me, like sold cost per square footage.
So what he's talking about is you can customize your table so that all these different data points that are within the record are just more exposed and visible to you. And I'll show you a little bit later how we can export all this data to Excel if you'd like to just pull the data out. But he's just talking about we can customize the table so that certain things are, revealed, at first.
Yeah. Well, and after it was set up, it made it very easy to kind of go through everything. And then I was like, okay, like in essence, I went broad, then I went narrow, then I went kind of like reasonable, right? So it was like everything. Then it was like, let's just do office in this particular area. And then I got a good snapshot on that. And then I said, okay, well, sometimes, based on the area, I want to determine, I want to comp properties, maybe not just on that type of asset class, but similar types of asset classes. Like let's put some industrial buildings in there and some other things like that, just to see. And I was able to get a very good use of something that in the past I would have probably only been able to get with a full on appraisal. And we don't even do all that many, small balance commercial properties. It's hard to get a borrower to pay a high end fee to get a super loaded appraisal anyways, that you might need, to use to get all this data. So this was able to get me a lot more of this data, and then I could, make it a more educated decision on some of these deals.
Yeah, great point. Great insight. I'll show them how to do some of the things that you just mentioned. Last piece is on top of the ownership detail. We also have a free integration with the skip tracing tool that will basically provide phone numbers and emails associated with the property. Most people have their own tools for skip tracing. It's not a perfect science. We just include one for you for free. The way to make it a little bit better is tap into that person's portfolio. Go find a single family home to own in their personal name potentially, other than a maybe business entity hidden behind 10 partners, right? So leveraging the portfolio to get in, additional contact information would be my recommendation that to anyone that's new to it. Otherwise, there's a lot of tools out there that just focus on skip tracing. We use Batch, which is a very reputable one. That's just included in your subscription for free. On top of that, we're also going to have potentially some lease data on the property, which I'll show you in a little bit. But then we also have record data. This is going to be all that county information. So we can see lot details, building details. Each one will be different depending on what we're able to map out. We see location details, even additional details, even a link to the zoning code description on the company website.
I can't see your screen if you're trying to share it, FYI. I don't know if you meant if you meant to or not. Well, you got to push present again, I think, down below.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think when I switch tabs, it just
it's all good.
It doesn't follow me. So all I was saying is the free integration with the skip tracing tool will come right here. You'll see the phone numbers and emails on top of the business entity. And then I was just recommending go to the portfolio to find other properties associated. That gives you more contact info. Then at the top, we may have lease data on the property. This is an example of a property that we have some lease data on. What's nice is you're going to get all this information from the broker regarding the type of lease. But I'll show you ways that we can just find direct rent rolls and different things like that. So there may be some documents that were in the OM that refer to rent rolls and different information. So I'll show you in a little bit how we can do that. And then we also have all the county information. So like lot details, building details,
Yep.
location details, additional details. Assuming you want to print out this comp, you get all the demographics with it and so forth. So that's kind of what to expect within these records, right? A mixture of data from different data providers, from the counties, from title companies, from the broker. What Jason was mentioning is if you wanted to comp a certain area, we could easily go in, select a radius that we want, select an asset class, and then it's going to only filter down to those comps. And then we can always hand select the comps that we like and save it into a folder. And then you have a saved properties folder here where you can tap into all of your, work that you've done and print out the group of properties. Otherwise, if you're really into analyzing what's going on, in terms of filtering this stuff down further, I could specify, hey, I just want to look at all the apartment buildings in Ohio, by date sold, and then we can generate those insights that we did earlier again, which is just going to aggregate historical sale data rather than active marketplace data. And we can print out these insights, have your full market analysis right there at your fingertips. And then it will even take into account any lease data on the properties that you've selected. Other ways to filter is by properties that haven't sold in the last 20, 30 years. From there, we can get into all filters. This is where we can get very project specific. So acreage, units, lot size, zoning codes, year built, even look up people's owner names. So when I told you looking up someone's portfolio, if you know their mailing address or their business entity, we can look that up. If I go into sale data, this is where I can filter down by loan maturity dates on the private loans. I can also look for distressed properties, which are the pre-foreclosures, and CMBS loans, which will tell us like the tenant and the lease expiration. And I can even look up lenders. So if there's a competitor or a type of loan that that you go after a lot of the times, we can specify by loan type and by lender and then by maturity date and go after that business.
Yeah, and that lender stuff works because my company, Hard Money Bankers, is in there.
Well, yeah, any loan data that we have, if the lender name is shown, we're going to be able to pick it up. But let me give you an example. I'm going to put 2-year maturity date on these multifamily properties. We're obviously very broad with the whole state still, but just for the sake of the example, I'm going to go ahead and export this with the contact information. And I'm probably going to need to reshare my screen, so bear with me.
Okay.
Let's see. Just want you to get a sense of how you can even work outside of our system. I'm just going to share the window or the entire screen, see if that works. Let me know if you can see the Excel file.
Yep.
You're looking at just an Excel file, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is all the data that I just exported, assuming you like to manipulate this data, put it in your own models, or just work outside the system. You're always going to have a link back to the comp there. But I see the APN number, the zip code, all the details in the property itself, right? Everything that we just looked at, the improvement values, taxes, owner names, business entity mailing addresses if you just want to send out mailers, and then all the phone numbers and emails. Maybe you hire a virtual assistant to help you with calling. But if I go to the financing, are you looking at the financing screen now?
No, I don't think so. No.
Can you see where it says mortgage amount and execution date right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So right now there's a tab. I'm looking at the financing section. So I can see exactly when all these properties loans are maturing. So I can reach out in a timely manner and I can make it bigger if it's hard to see. Yep. I can also see when they took out the loan, which correlates to that. I can see the mortgage amount and also check to see if it's cross-collateralized in the portfolio. I can see their estimated interest rate at the time, and then I can see who their lender is. Okay. Also the loan type, the length, who's on the lien, who sold it, and who bought it. So everything to do with the financing and closing of this property. Okay, so that's how you could easily go in, select your asset, select your location, pull all the data outside of our system. And then last but not least, just because I think we may be going over time.
Okay, there we go. Because it just keeps sharing, keeps stopping, but okay.
Yeah, I need to stop it every time I want to change it.
I see. I see.
Yeah, so last but not least, if I want to look at lease data, and obviously there's a lot of training materials and things that you'll get when you sign up, and you'll get used to it. But if I go to lease data, I can just go and click base rates. That's going to show me properties that I've signed leases on. And so this is just a huge update that we just released last month. We've been waiting 3 years for this. But basically, you're going to be able to go to lease data and just go directly to things like rent comps and rent rolls. So think of any mention of lease data that's ever interacted with our public marketplace. we were finally able to extract using AI. And so we're going to have a lot of direct documentation regarding the rents and different data tables, unit mix breakdowns. I mean, each one will be different, but across every asset class, we're going to have this type of lease data. So it may be broker reported in the sale, or it may be directly from these signed leases, or it may be from the CMBS loan. It depends how you want to filter it. But here's an example of like a rent roll that I just pulled up.
Yeah, that's really helpful because typically, if that's something that's important during the underwriting process for me as a lender, I'm got to get on the phone with a broker. I mean, if we get a full on appraisal, the appraiser will be able to collect that data on our behalf. But if we don't go in that direction, I'm either Googling around to try to find LoopNet listings that, have access to it, or I'm trying to find, or go to the broker of records website to see if they have access to it there, or just call the broker and try to get the information. And doing that, when you're not really an interested party, right? Because it's challenging, right? If it was a purchase, it's easy. But if I want that on some comp data, because, we all know that commercial properties, they're hard to determine value, right? Are you looking at are you looking at, the as is value, replacement value, the income approach value? There's a lot of different ways, to do so. And in my opinion, I just needed more. And the reason that we were, very interested with Crexi is it gave us the resource tools and availability to access all of this stuff in just one place and made it significantly easier for us.
Yep. And then last but not least, we even have a broker directory. So if you do want to, generate more business, word of mouth, and, network with agents and brokers, you're going to be able to go in, basically look at every single agent or broker that's in our system, look at what listings and sales they have. You can click into any profile and get in contact with them and hopefully start getting business sent your way. So just broker directory. Resource. Yeah. So broker directory, you can see all the top agents and brokers by asset class, look at what listings and sales they have and so forth.
Yeah. I think that's another added resource. Another thing, as you were talking, is potentially reverse engineering, based off other, loans that are coming matured from other lenders that you can potentially refinance. The data's in there. That you could, I don't know, the sky's the limit, right? If you can export all that data, you can, create tools to try to, turn this into an income machine and generate business from this as well, besides just the resource access that it has and the data that it's got.
And for any of you that are interested in investing, I mean, this is going to help you make better decisions, maybe go direct to owner on things. I mean, there's a whole acquisition side of users that use our platform, but of course, for your business with lending, it's a huge use case for us. But, next time you're looking to buy a property, you have all this data to help you make a good decision.
Absolutely. Sean, I really appreciate you coming on. What's the best contact information for you if anyone's interested in this software?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll distribute a link. Basically, we put together a landing page. That will just open up a contact form. If you fill that out, I'll get notified that you want to take a demo with me and learn more. If you fill that out, you'll also get the automatic discount that we're providing the community. So make sure to please go through that link. Otherwise, if you go to our website and another rep reaches out to you, you may not be able to get that same deal. So we put this together specific for the community. So please use that link. I'm also going to quickly share my screen for those that maybe just want to scan. This is a QR code. I'll leave it up for 10 seconds. This is the same thing as that link. It will just take you directly to that link if you scan it with your phone. And again, just fill out your name, your email, your number. It will notify me that you're interested. I'm happy to do another demo for you in your market and see how it helps you. And then we'll discuss the different subscription options and the discounts and everything.
Exactly. And full disclosure, I'm not affiliated with Crexi by any means, but I, again, and as everyone who listens to our podcast on a regular basis knows that we don't typically have vendors and things like that on here, but this is a tool that, we're paying for, that we signed up with a few weeks ago, and I'm in it every day. So it's a good resource, and we're always trying to help private lenders and hard money lenders grow their companies. So I think this is definitely a tool to check out if you're, if you're interested in growth. Sean, thanks again for coming on. Certainly appreciate it. And yeah, anyone who's interested, feel free to reach out. I'll also put that link in the show notes so you have access to that as well.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to speaking to all of you. And, even if you've never been on our platform and you just want to check it out, look at the listings, I encourage you to do that at the very least. But, reach out. Don't be a stranger. Happy to walk through this again with all of you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast. Please note that the opinions stated by all the speakers on this show are only opinions and not intended for legal, financial, or accounting advice. Please make sure to always check with your own legal, accounting, and financial professionals. If you enjoyed this episode of the Private Lenders Podcast, we'd appreciate it if you would spread the word. Make sure to check out hardmoneymastermind.com, the #1 free community for new and experienced private and hard money lenders.